What's up, YouTube? I'm gonna go ahead and get this out the way while I sip my coffee. Rest in peace, man, to Malcolm Jamal Warner. Oh my God. Okay. Funeral. Bill Cosby tribute is stunning. I hope this is some real stuff, man. My people sent me this. First of all, you have to follow some type of rules. You have to, man. It's the only way to keep peace and order in the world. When you go to school, you're supposed to be in class before the bell ring. Go out for a recess. You sit at your table to eat. And after that school over with, you go to a job. You fill out an application. You go on an interview. Rules. You dress a certain way. You wear your uniform at work, or you wear the proper clothes. You can't wear shorts, or you can't wear jeans, or whatever. Rules. Even in the music industry, there are certain rules. On YouTube, there are rules. If you don't like the rules, you make your own. But the big dogs, you have to obey the rules. Now, I was going somewhere with this, but it's a long story, man, of how people think that they can make up their own rules. And you can start your own little business. You don't have to go to that job. But you got to pay your bills. So if you don't want to do what the boss say and you want to be your own boss, you have to bring in income. You have to bring in income. And if you're not bringing in income, you ain't making enough money to pay your bills. So then you go out and get a job where you have to obey their rules. Now, I'm self-employed, so which means I have to obey the rules of YouTube. And if I don't, well, you can start, you need to have your own. Yeah, I do. I don't know how much money YouTube is making off my channel, and I don't care. When you go to that job, you don't know how much money they making off of you going to work every day, and you shouldn't care. You should worry about yourself. Anyway, I try to make it shorter, but it's like, what is he talking about? Rest in peace to a man who obeyed the rules. Rest in peace. He looked up to Bill Cosby. Just because you go to a church and the pastor did something he had no business doing, if he's getting to your soul, your heart, and he's teaching you all things that's positive, he ain't teaching you how to do something wrong to people. Bill Cosby taught him the best he could. He didn't teach him how to put stuff in people's drink and all that type of stuff. Maybe he did and he ignored it. But there's no flaw on his name. There's no flaw in his name. And I don't think you can find any, man. He started his little YouTube channel. I was looking at his YouTube channel. I'm going to look again to see how many subscribers. I'm thinking it's going to blow up now because everybody want to go there and see what's going on. Anyway, man, shout out to him and shout out to Bill Cosby, because Bill Cosby touched a lot of black men's heart who needed to be touched. That their parents and they fathers couldn't touch them. Bill Cosby touched a lot of black people even when he was young, man. Everybody makes mistakes. So what I'm not saying what he did, excuse what he did. He should have went to jail and he should have paid for what he did. But everybody's human and make mistakes, man. At that time, slipping women's drinks was probably the end thing to do, even though it was wrong, like robbing banks. Anyway, man, y'all don't. I'm trying to get y'all to open y'all eyes and everything, man. But y'all not hearing me. I can't put it into words for y'all. So y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Rest in peace, man. Both of these guys, man, helped shape what we have today, which is YouTube. People trying to do their little short films and all this stuff, and they wish they had the talent that both of these men have.
He stood there, trembling, a legend mourning another legend. When Bill Cosby stepped up to that microphone at Malcolm Jamal Warner's funeral, no one expected what came next. Tears streamed down his face as he revealed a haunting truth, something the world had never heard before. And in that moment, even the cameras couldn't capture the full weight of what was said. But what did Cosby say? And why did his words leave even the strongest in the room speechless? The bond between Bill Cosby and Malcolm Jamal Warner wasn't just something created for the cameras. It was real, personal, and built over decades of love, mentorship, and shared struggle. From the moment they met on The Cosby Show, Malcolm wasn't just a co-star, he became like a son. And when news broke that Malcolm had suddenly passed away, the world gasped. But no one, absolutely no one, was more devastated than Bill Cosby himself. What unfolded at the private funeral stunned even those closest to the family. Cosby didn't just grieve, he spoke from a place of raw pain, exposing deep regrets, hidden memories, and the darker side of fame that followed them both. His tribute wasn't scripted, it was real. And for many, it finally revealed how close the two truly were, and how far things had spiraled behind the scenes. In today's video, we're going deep. You'll hear never-before-heard accounts from people inside the funeral. Witness reactions from co-stars like Felicia Rashad and Tempest Bledsoe, and learn about Malcolm's final days, including disturbing details many tried to keep buried. You won't believe what Bill Cosby said in that eulogy, and why it left so many in tears. This is where it gets emotional, raw, and shocking. So stay with us till the end. You'll want to hear everything. From the very beginning of The Cosby Show, Bill Cosby took young Malcolm Jamal Warner under his wing, not just as a co-star, but as a father figure. Malcolm, who was only 14 when he first appeared as Theo Huxtable, quickly became the heart and soul of the Huxtable family on screen. But behind the scenes, the bond was even deeper. Insiders from the set often described how Cosby would spend hours with Malcolm after filming, teaching him about the television industry, personal branding, and, perhaps most importantly, how to carry himself as a young black man in a world that often doesn't forgive mistakes. Cosby saw promise in Malcolm. He treated him like the son he always wanted, and Malcolm returned that loyalty with admiration and respect. In a 2012 interview, Malcolm even said, "Bill taught me how to be a man, not just how to act like one on TV." But as the years went on and scandals started to surround Cosby, their relationship was quietly strained. Malcolm, who built a clean and respected reputation in Hollywood, began to distance himself publicly, not out of hate, but out of self-preservation. Still, those who were close to both men say their emotional connection never truly faded. So when news broke that Malcolm had tragically passed away at just 54 years old in what some are still calling a mysterious drowning incident, Cosby reportedly collapsed in grief. Sources say he kept whispering, "Not my Theo, not my Theo." What happened next, no one expected. Bill Cosby, frail, aging, and deeply emotional, requested to speak at the funeral. And what he said would leave the entire room frozen in silence. The church was packed. Cameras were kept out, but inside, the atmosphere was electric with grief, confusion, and a haunting sense of finality. Hollywood elites, former castmates, longtime friends, and devoted fans had gathered to pay their final respects to Malcolm Jamal Warner, a man who had grown up in front of the world's eyes and remained respected through it all. But no one was prepared when an old, trembling figure walked slowly to the pulpit. Bill Cosby. Escorted by 2 aides, one on each arm, Cosby stood before the casket of the man he once called my TV son and looked out over the mourners with tear-filled eyes. Despite everything that had happened over the years, the trials, the convictions, the controversies, Cosby had returned for one reason: to speak about Malcolm. His voice cracked as he began, "I knew this young man before he had his first beard. Before the world called him a star, I called him my boy. Not my biological son, but something more, a son of spirit. Gasps rippled through the room as Cosby opened up, not just about their friendship on set, but the private talks, the jokes between scenes, the times he watched Malcolm cry over rejection, heartbreak, and Hollywood's pressure. He went on to say, "This industry can eat you alive." And yet he stood tall. He walked through fire and never let the smoke touch his soul. But it wasn't just love and memories Cosby brought to the funeral. His speech suddenly took a shocking, darker turn, one no one expected at such a solemn moment. With a stern gaze, Cosby declared, "And yet, there were people around him who didn't protect him. There were whispers, dangers, pressures, and now he's gone. Not because he was reckless, but because others were." The room fell completely silent. People began exchanging nervous glances. Had Cosby just implied Malcolm's death wasn't an accident? That something or someone contributed to it? Even Felicia Rashad, seated in the front row, reportedly dropped her head and closed her eyes tightly as if to brace for what came next. And then Cosby ended with one final line. "Theo, wherever you are now, forgive us. We couldn't save you." Tears flowed freely. Even the most composed in the room, actors, executives, pastors, were seen wiping their eyes. But beyond the grief, a deeper emotion lingered. Suspicion. Something about Malcolm's death wasn't sitting right, and Cosby had just cracked open the lid of a box no one was ready for. While the world was still reeling from Cosby's cryptic words at the funeral, Felicia Rashad, the woman who played Malcolm Jamal Warner's mother on The Cosby Show, finally broke her silence. And what she revealed sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. After remaining composed throughout the funeral, Rashad took to a quiet media room days later for a private interview, not with a major network, but with a trusted journalist she had worked with before. Her reason? She needed to speak freely, no cameras, no filters, just truth. And the first thing she said? "I believe Malcolm knew something was coming. He didn't say it out loud, but he said enough." The world leaned in. Felicia recounted that just 7 days before Malcolm's sudden drowning, they had a lengthy phone call, something rare these days with their busy lives. He'd reached out late at night, his voice tired, distant, yet desperate to talk. According to Rashad, Malcolm started the conversation with a chilling sentence. "If anything ever happens to me, I just want you to know I love you, Mama." She was taken aback. She laughed it off at first, thinking it was just Malcolm being emotional. But what followed wiped the smile off her face. Malcolm admitted he'd been under pressure from certain executives and old associates trying to drag him back into situations he had long walked away from. People from the past were suddenly reaching out, and not with friendly intentions. He said, "They want me to stay silent, but I can't do that anymore." Felicia asked him what he meant, but he only responded with, "You'll see. It's going to come out soon." She pushed him to clarify, begged him not to go down a path that could put him in danger, but he deflected, laughing gently and changing the topic. Still, his tone never recovered. There was weight in his words, a quiet heaviness that hadn't been there before. Rashad then dropped the biggest bombshell. "I believe Malcolm was preparing to expose something. He didn't tell me exactly what, but he was scared, not for his career, for his life." That one statement changed everything. It reframed the conversation around Malcolm Jamal Warner's death. Was it really a tragic accident or something more sinister? Was he, as Cosby suggested, let down by those who should have protected him? And what exactly did he plan to expose before he died? Rumors began to swirl that Malcolm had recorded files, old emails, and contracts tied to Hollywood deals that were never supposed to see the light of day. Some suggested he had dirt on major executives, while others claimed he had grown disillusioned with the entire industry and had been preparing to leave it behind for good. Whatever the truth was, Felicia Rashad's confession only added more fuel to a fire that wasn't going out anytime soon. Because now, it wasn't just fans grieving. It was the beginning of an investigation. As the days passed after Malcolm Jamal Warner's shocking death, the public began to accept the official story: accidental drowning while on a solo retreat. But for many, including close friends, former co-stars, and even members of Malcolm's own family, something about the story never added up. Let's break it down and expose the shocking inconsistencies in the official police narrative. According to the initial report, Malcolm checked into a secluded lakeside cabin resort just outside of Vancouver. Surveillance footage shows him arriving around 4:17 p.m. on a Thursday, parking his rented SUV and unloading groceries and a duffel bag. The staff said he seemed tired, but polite. His usual mellow self, as one front desk employee put it. By Friday morning, he was spotted on the dock sipping coffee alone, writing in a leather-bound notebook, a routine that seemed peaceful. But by Saturday morning, his body was discovered in the water, face down near the rocks by the far end of the dock. No signs of struggle, no signs of trauma. Official cause of death: asphyxia due to accidental drowning. Sounds neat, right? But here's where it gets suspicious. Inconsistency number 1, the missing call logs.
Wait a minute. The first suspicion, as far as Uncle Mike is concerned, is, and I'm just saying, I'm hoping that I'm wrong on all this, all that crazy stuff. But why gotta be accidental drowning? How do you know it's an accident? Only thing you know through the findings right now is drowning. You don't know if it was on accident or on purpose. So why put accidental drowning in there? That's a red flag by itself.
To accidental drowning.
Listen to this. Wait a minute.
On the dock, sipping coffee alone, writing in a leather-bound notebook, a routine that seemed peaceful. But by Saturday morning, his body was discovered in the water, face down near the rocks by the far end of the dock. No signs of struggle, no signs of trauma. Official cause of death: asphyxia due to accidental drowning. Sounds neat, right? But here's where it gets suspicious. Inconsistency number 1, the missing call logs. Malcolm's phone was recovered, water damaged but not completely destroyed. Digital experts managed to retrieve parts of his call and text history from the cloud. What they found was chilling. At 11:03 p.m., Friday night, just hours before his body was found, Malcolm had attempted to call 3 people back to back. One was his former publicist, another, an unnamed contact saved only as LL, still unidentified. The third was Felicia Rashad. All calls went unanswered. But the problem? None of these calls were mentioned in the official police report. Why? How could that detail, such a critical piece of his final hours, be omitted? Inconsistency number 2. No footage, no witnesses. The cabin resort had several surveillance cameras, especially at the dock, where guests often go to fish or relax. Yet strangely, there is no footage of Malcolm leaving his cabin after sunset on Friday. If he walked down to the water alone, why isn't there video? Officials claim the cameras weren't recording at the time due to a technical failure. A coincidence or something more deliberate? Inconsistency number 3. The locked cabin.
Whoa.
When the cleaning staff entered Malcolm's cabin Saturday morning, just before the body was found, they noted the door was locked from the inside. How did he leave the cabin if the door was bolted? Was there a second exit or was someone else with him that night? These gaps aren't just small errors. They're massive cracks in the narrative.
Oh my God.
And what's worse, an anonymous employee at the cabin resort contacted an independent journalist 2 days after the funeral and claimed that someone came that night asking for Malcolm. The guest reportedly wore a black hoodie, didn't sign in, and left within 10 minutes. Security was told not to question him. That person, still unaccounted for. So here's the burning question. Was Malcolm Jamal Warner's death really an accident? Or was it a message? Was he silenced because of what he knew? Was someone trying to prevent the truth he warned Felicia Rashad about from ever surfacing? And if so, who has something to lose? As the memorial service reached its most tender moment, it was Bill Cosby himself who took the stage, slowly, solemnly, and visibly shaken. At 87 years old, the legendary comedian appeared far more fragile than fans had remembered. But as he approached the podium, a silence fell across the room, every eye fixed on the man who had once mentored Malcolm Jamal Warner as if he were his own blood. And when Cosby began to speak, his voice cracked, not from age, but from heartbreak. "I didn't just watch Malcolm grow up on television," he said. "I watched him grow into a man, into an artist, into a soul that lit up every room. He was more than Theo. He was my son." Those words hit like a thunderclap. There was no script, no jokes, no showmanship, just a father figure mourning the loss of someone who'd been a vital part of his life for over 4 decades. Cosby reflected on their early years filming The Cosby Show, how Malcolm would memorize not only his lines, but everyone else's just in case something went wrong. He spoke about Warner's discipline, his quiet resilience, and how he'd call Bill even in recent years just to check on him, despite Cosby's own tarnished public image. "Malcolm never turned his back on me," Cosby revealed. "Even when the world did, he stayed. He reached out. He reminded me what family really is." He paused. The silence was deafening. And now, he's gone. Just like that. Cosby looked down, visibly fighting back tears. Then he continued, "They say a man lives twice, once when he's born, and again when he's remembered. If that's true, then Malcolm will live forever, in every laugh, every line, every heart he touched." The crowd was in tears. Even those who had long since distanced themselves from Cosby found themselves moved by his raw humanity. This wasn't just a tribute, it was an emotional reckoning, a final goodbye between a father and his TV son. And if that wasn't enough, Cosby left the audience with one final line that shook the entire venue. "If I could trade places with him, I would. That's how much I loved him." The room erupted in sobs. No one expected such vulnerability. No one expected Cosby to break down like that in public. But he did, and that moment became the headline heard around the world. Bill Cosby breaks down over Malcolm Jamal Warner's death. "He was my son." But that wasn't the only moment that would leave fans speechless. As the memorial wound down, most guests had begun to quietly file out of the cathedral, leaving behind the soft notes of a lone piano and the scent of fresh lilies still lingering in the air. But near the front, where Malcolm Jamal Warner's casket rested, draped in white roses and photos from his life, one figure remained rooted in place, a woman with trembling hands and eyes full of unspoken pain. It was none other than Karen Molina White, Malcolm's longtime ex-girlfriend and a fellow actor who had once shared both the screen and real-life memories with him. Though the two had split many years ago, their relationship had been widely known in the industry as one of the few Hollywood romances that was sincere, private, and deeply emotional, but no one expected what would happen next. As the room emptied out, Karen slowly walked up to the casket, laid her hand gently on the polished wood, and whispered something no one saw coming. Yet someone nearby recorded every word. "You were the one. You've always been the one." She broke down. Sobs shook her shoulders as she leaned over the casket. "I'm sorry we didn't make it work. I thought we had more time. I thought we'd get one more chance." Those standing near the front, including Keshia Knight Pulliam and Felicia Rashad, were visibly shaken. It wasn't just grief. It was the type of soul-breaking regret only the closest hearts feel when they've lost someone too soon. And then came the words that would go viral by evening. "I never stopped loving you, Malcolm. Never. I hope you knew that." Cameras may have been off, but whispers spread like wildfire. Karen's confession set off a ripple of reactions across social media. Fans flooded old photos of the couple with messages like, "She's always loved him. You can see it in every picture." This is the kind of heartbreak that never heals. Hollywood romances fade. But this was real. Later that evening, Karen released a short statement on Instagram, a simple black and white photo of Malcolm smiling with the caption, "I never got to say goodbye the way I wanted to. You were my peace before this world became too loud. Rest easy, my love." The post amassed over 2 million likes in under 10 hours. As the curtain closed on this emotional tribute, it became clear Malcolm Jamal Warner wasn't just a brilliant actor or a beloved son of television. He was a man who left a crater-sized hole in the hearts of those who truly knew him, loved him, and never got the closure they deserved. His death may have shocked the world, but it also unearthed the raw, tender truths behind the image he projected, including a love that had never died, a father figure forever mourning, and fans who finally realized how deeply he was cherished behind closed doors. Rest in power, Malcolm Jamal Warner. 1970 to 2025. You were more than Theo. You were a son, a brother, a lover, a friend, and you will never be forgotten.
Man, you never be forgotten. Rest in peace, man. I got so many things going through my mind. Y'all, check this out. I'm hoping and I'm praying, just like when Angie Stone passed away, I was hoping and praying that she was not into all this stupid stuff and all this he say, she say. But now, this video right here has changed my mind with the doors being locked from the inside. When this story first broke, now y'all listen to me now. When the story first broke, they keep saying he wasn't by himself. What happened to the other guy? It was two guys. They had to save somebody else. She's saying he was by himself. Make up your mind. Which one is it? Another thing is no cameras. In today's world, police walking around with cameras on their chest. You got cameras on your cell phone. You can hide cameras all over the place. You got a top of the line, because I know he ain't go cheap. Come on now, y'all. Y'all got to hear me on this one. I know he ain't go cheap. No cameras at all. And it's a dock where you swim and everything, and it ain't no cameras. Ain't no cameras, dog. So somebody can come up with a boat, come up to the daggone place, come up in there at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? They should have cameras. And we talking about a star. They should have had cameras, lasers, night cameras you can see at night. Hello? There ain't no cameras. Okay. Don't beat a dead horse, Uncle Mike. Check this out. Bill Cosby done made this speech. Now, you know Kanye West and everything. This was going to make me cry, man. Sacrifice. They always talk about making sacrifices. I'm not putting this out here, but this is the thought that went through my mind. And I'm like, down, Satan, down. Don't think like that. Bill Cosby trying to make a comeback. He got to sacrifice somebody or something. That's what was going through my mind. Back, Satan. Don't think like that, Uncle Mike. But I felt it as a spirit type thing, right? And he called the mama on the, she fine. I got to say that. I'm sorry. She fine. He called the TV mama. I don't know her name. They kept in touch. And I think these people that's higher up, Bill Cosby, the mom, Kanye West, the Kardashians, Puffy, all, they know something that we don't know. They know something. I don't know why all these celebrities dying and passing away on these freak accidents. They know something, man. So to get this, now all of a sudden Bill Cosby is back. I bet you any amount of money you're going to start seeing more and more and more videos about little things Bill is saying. And then I got another guy, I forgot one of those make it make sense type YouTube channels. He jumping straight out there talking about something. Man, this a lie. They doing this and they killed him. Man, I'm hoping. It's hard for me to swallow this Rip Current stuff. It's real hard because I was caught in the Rip Current before. They strong, but come on, man. That's just me. I wish right now, well, I'm not in no good shape. I ain't in no good shape, but you can't catch me 10, 20 years down the line. A rip current. How often, I need to look that up. How often do people die because of a rip current? It's quite often, but I don't, and they say, well, you know, they known for their rip currents wherever he was at. They known for strong rip currents. I don't believe that either. I don't believe it, man. So I don't know. The more I'm looking into this, the more they try to say Malcolm. Oh my God. Look here. We just gotta wait, man. I'm praying that whatever happens, you can't bring them back. But if it's something crazy going on, then I need to go out there and start investigating and whoop somebody's tail. That boy right there ain't do nothing to nobody, man. He ain't never do nothing to nobody. Now you got a Puffy or a Jay-Z and all these other, Beyonce and all these other people. I don't know too much about them. But this dude right here, he was I think he was a straight shooter, man. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.